Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another awesome day of math learning things. Hopefully this video works. Yesterday it did not, but today we're going to be talking about partial products, day two, part two, the revenge. Partial products. This is a technique or a strategy for multiplication, right? So the goal here is to practice this. Like whether you already have a strategy, whether you're like, multiplication works for me. I want you to try this one. Like, give it a go because the partial products is going to help us make connections to some other things. So it's a good thing to kind of have, right? And it's okay down the line, like as you multiply, like pick the thing that works best for you. But in this case, I would really like you to try this out. So remember yesterday we talked a little bit, products. So we break that apart. That's the answer to a multiplication problem. And partial just means parts. So we are going to do some multiplication in which we are breaking it into parts. Now those parts are place values. So that's something to keep in mind and is important to know is that an understanding of place values and value, something we've been talking about, is a relationship to helping you with multiplication. So again, these things are related. This is what we need to connect with and understand is that everything we do in math does have some interconnectedness to it. So, that's all. But let's dive in. So yesterday, as we worked with partial products, there were some steps to it. One, we wanted to estimate. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit real quick as I model that here in a second. Two, and don't be afraid to write this in your journal, right? Don't be afraid to take notes. I watch some of you. You just turn on the video, you stare at the screen, and then you're like, what? Huh? What happened? So, make this a learning opportunity. Next, we're going to stack. And this is then where we multiply the parts. And I'll explain more as that means. And then three, we go ahead and add our products or the parts, right? We're going to add those parts together, which are the products. They're the answers to the multiplication that we are doing. And then finally, one thing is a fourth step is like you really do want to check to see if your answer is reasonable. Like, does your answer have reason to it? And that's based on the estimation. These two will connect. Okay, so let's do a super quick one with the work we did yesterday just to remember the steps. And then I want to introduce today how we're using this to do more than one digit by 2-digit, 3-digit, 4-digit, but what's going to happen when you do 2 by 2-digit. But first, let's talk about like maybe a 3-digit number like 537. We're going to multiply that by 6, let's say. Okay, great. Now, step one, estimate. This should be a quick process. You shouldn't be taking super long to estimate. When I estimate right away, I'm doing that front end estimation. I'm going to round this one to 500. I'm going to keep my 6 as is, and then I'm going to do that base 10 multiplication. So 5 times 6, that is 30. And then 1, 2, 1, 2. So my answer should be around 3,000. Okay. Notice how quick I did that. That's estimation. If you're rounding to compatible numbers, you should be like, boom, quick, do the math, check, move on. Okay. That's why we do that. So next we're actually going to solve this. I'm going to actually go to the other page. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth between pages on this one so we have space, but I'm going to keep my estimation here. But now let's stack and multiply the parts. So 537 times 6. So I'm going to stack that. So 537 times 6, right? Is that right? 537 times 6. Great. Stack. Okay. Now it's the parts. Now watch how I do this. This really does work. Try it out and make sense of it and practice it because that's the only way we're going to be able to make sense of how this works. So here are the parts. The parts are this ones place, 6. And I'm going to multiply it by each one of the place values that's in 537. So the first one is 6 ones, and I'm going to multiply that by the 7 ones that are right above it, right? I'm not writing an answer yet. I'm just going to write that. Again, remember, this dot is a sign of multiplication. Then I'm still saying with those 6 ones, and I'm going to multiply them by the 3 in the tens place, which is 30. This is why place value is so important. This is why we've been practicing this work. Okay, then we're going to take that those 6 ones, and we're going to multiply it by the 5 in the hundreds place, which is 500. Now, again, look at how I set up my problem. Because I have the multiplication facts set up, I'm going to go do them, but they're already set up to help me think about place value. Like everything's going to go where it belongs. So the first thing I do is I multiply this is I'm going to go 6 times 7. Well, 6 times 7 equals 42. And I'm going to write this over here for a second just so we can make sense of that. Well, that means that there's a 2 in the ones place. Well, here's our ones place right there. And there's a 4 in the tens place. And here it is there. Again, notice, see how this, whoa, that got wobbly. See how that's the tens place right there? That 3 up here is the tens place. The 4 is lined up with it. This is something I've been noticing some of us are struggling with, is that we're doing great multiplication. We're not putting things in the correct place value. Now, next, as we multiply here, right? I can look at, I'm going to write these over here for a second, but I'm going to show you how I'm thinking about this mathematically. If I go 6 times 3, well, that's going to be 18. And then there's one place value, right? There's 1 0, so that's 180. So again, if you think about where you put that in your place value, this is the ones place. So that's going to go right underneath the 2. This is the tens place. And this is the hundreds place, right? I don't have one of those yet. So again, notice I'm already lining up all of my products where they belong. Okay, now here's another way I was talking about this to think about this is I actually then can think about this math as you see these problems are kind of set up backwards, right? Like I'm going to write my answer over here, but I also like to just look at the zeros first. And if I look here, I see I have 1 0, 2 zeros. So this is the ones place and the tens place. So I'm actually going to put those zeros right back in the ones and the tens. And then I'm going to multiply 6 times 5. And 6 times 5 will get me a 30, which then that gets everything lined up. Okay, so that was another technique. But again, yeah, think about that over here. If we 6 times 5 is 30, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, it gives me 3,000, right? Same thing. Okay, so now that that's there, I'm going to add these products together. And notice everything's already in the right place value. This 2 from 42 over here, it's over here. There it is, my ones place, right? So 2 plus 0 is 2. 4 plus 8 is 12. So I'm going to carry over that 100, right? This is actually technically 880 plus 40, which is 120. And now I'm adding up in my hundreds place. 100 plus 100 is 200. And then I have 3,000. There's nothing there, right? These are just zeros. So there's my answer. Now, if we go back to the steps, right, it says estimate, stack, multiply, add our products. I guess I should have done that in orange. And now we check if it's reasonable. Well, I'm actually going to go, what is it? 3,222. I'm going to put this right here. And like, let's look, our estimation was 3,000 and our answer itself was 3,022. That makes sense, right? Because we did an underestimation because we rounded down. I rounded 537. I rounded it down to 500. We were talking about that in class yesterday. Someone brought up that really good point. Like you're taking 3 10s and 7 1s away from it. So yeah, your estimation is going to be smaller than the real answer itself, but it's still reasonable. It makes sense. So this checks out. I like it. So that's what we did. I said we we're going to do that super quick. That's fine. Maybe not the quickest, but that's okay. Like learn from this moment. Watch how it works. Notice how we did the place values and the stacking, because what we're going to do now is use the same exact strategy to multiply a 2-digit by a 2-digit number. So we're going to do something like, let's say we have 34, we're going to multiply that by 26. This question was actually asked yesterday in class. Someone's like, well, what do we do if like we're multiplying by like 17, right? Well, here you go. This is what happens when we have 2-digit by 2-digit. Now, the cool thing is rules, the steps, I shouldn't say rules because they're not rules, they're just steps. They don't change, right? So we're going to estimate. After we estimate, we're going to stack. And then we're going to multiply the parts. And again, remember, those parts are the place values, right? Those are the things we're going to do. Then we are going to add our products. And that's going to get us our final answer. And then we'll just go back and do a quick check with our estimation. That's a check mark, not like a V. I don't know. A quick check if it's reasonable. If there's reason based on our estimation and our answer, are they close to each other? So let's do that. So first things first, we're going to estimate. Well, I'm going to take this 34. I'm going to round that to 30. And I'm going to take this 26 and I'm going to round that up to 30. And now I'm just going to do that quick multiplication. 3 times 3 gets me 9. 1020, 1020. So our answer should be about 900. So as we do this work, the answer should be about 900. So let's do this work. I'm like debating, can I fit it on this screen? I'm going to go for it. Oh boy, here we go. All right. So I prefer scratch paper and work, and you've heard me like, do the work on paper, do the work on paper. And here I am. I'm going to try to squeeze it on a piece of paper. So I'm doing exactly what I said don't do, but I'm going to try it for you. So I'm going to go 34 times 26 right here. Yeah, I already don't like the way this is gonna get crammed in there, but that's okay. We got this. Okay, so let's do our parts. So the first part is the 6 ones. So I'm going to take this 6 ones and I'm going to multiply it by the 4 ones in 34. See, that's so big. I got to write that smaller if we're going to make this work. All right, let's go back to what I said. So we're going to take the 6 ones and we're going to multiply it by the 4 ones. Then I'm going to take these same 6 ones and I'm going to multiply it by the 3 tens, which is 30. Right? So that works. I'm done. I did it. I took care of the 6 in 26. Now, the light just went off in the room. You all know that feeling. Now that I'm done with the 6 over here, I'm going to come to the 2, right? You're always working with the bottom number. So now I'm going to take this 2, which is actually a 20 because it's in the tens place, and I'm going to multiply that by the 4 up here in the 34. And then I'm going to take that same 20 and I'm going to multiply it by this 3, which is 30. So again, look where I did the parts. I used, oh boy, I don't want to get confusing or messy, but like make sense of it. I'm going to use a whole nother color to go over it again. I started with the 6 in the ones place. I multiplied it by the 4 in the ones place. Then I went back to the 6 in the ones place and I multiplied it by the 3 in the tens place. Then I went to the 2 in the tens place and multiplied it by the 4 in the ones place. And then the 2 in the tens place and multiplied it by the 3 in the tens place. Notice that you're never multiplying the numbers that are together. I never multiplied the 2 and the 6 or the 3 and the 4. You're actually multiplying the bottom numbers with the top numbers. This is the bottom numbers, tops. Okay, so I organized it. So now we're just going to do that math. So 6 times 4 is 24. So again, I'm putting them in their place value, right? There's a 4 in the ones place and a 2 in the tens place. I have 1 0. So I'm already going to fill that into the ones place. And then I have 3 times 6, which is 18. Again, see how I'm kind of working backwards? I'm going to move that a little more over to help me organize the right place values. I see 1 0 here. So I'm going to put that in the ones place. And I'm going to say 2 times 4 is 8. So that would be 80. And then I see 1 0, 2 zeros. So that's the ones place and the tens place. And I'm going to say 2 times 3 is 6. And that gets me 600. Woo, we did that. Okay. So now we're going to add these up. I don't have room here to add them up. It's not going to fit. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. So I have a 24. I have 180. I have an 80. And I have a 600. Okay, 4, 8, 9, 10, 18, 6, 7, 8, 844. Now, look at what we did here. Our estimation, right? This is where we check for reasonable. Oh, I can write this up here. 884. So we checked to see, was it reasonable? Well, our estimation was 900. We got 884. That's really darn close. That looks great. I love it. It checks out. Okay. So partial products with 2-digit by 2-digit, but we're not done. So let's try another one. I'm going to put one on the board, and this is an area where I'd actually on the board on the screen. I'd like you to actually try to do this, like pause it and try to solve this on your own. Don't just stare and watch the video, but try the math. So pause me, do this work, and then we'll come back and solve it together. But you still haven't paused me yet. So pause me. Pause me. Just kidding. Hopefully you did pause me and now you're back. So let's see what we did here. Now, remember our steps. 1, we're going to estimate. This should be a quick step. So again, this is a 60. This is a 70. Look how quick I'm doing this. That's 42, 1010. Okay, so we should have an answer of about 4,200. Okay, so our last one, wait, what happened with our last one? Oh yeah, that makes sense. 800. Sorry, why did I freak out there? Okay, these are way bigger numbers. Of course, it's going to be a bigger value. So we're going to have about 4,200 as we estimate this. So let's now go in and do the next work. We're going to stack. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to say 61 times 73. And we're going to do our parts. So remember, the first part is I'm going to do the 3. And I'm going to multiply that by the 1 in 61. And I'm going to take the 3 and I'm going to multiply it by the 60 in 61. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to do the 70. So I'm going to take the 70 and I'm going to multiply it by the 1 in 61. And then I'm going to do the 70 and I'm going to multiply it by the 60 in 61. And that's a cool way to think about it that will pan out most often is that you notice there's, let's see, I'm going to come over here. I'm over here looking. So 1, 2, 3, 4 total digits. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Sometimes that works. It might not always check out, but that's a good way to kind of quickly double check it. Okay, so now let's solve that. We're going to do that math. So 3 times 1 is 3. That goes in the ones place. Here's 1, 0. So I'm going to load that up into the ones place. And I'm going to say 3 times 6 is 180. Let's put some equal signs here. 1 times 70 is still 70. That made life easy. We have 1, 0, 2 zeros. So 1, 0, 2 zeros. And then we're going to say 7 times 6 is 42. Okay. And then we're going to add this. So 3, 15, 2, 3, 4, and 4. So if we come up and write our answer, 4,453, there you have it. There you have it, right? And if we check for reasonability, those look really close to each other. That makes sense. In fact, I rounded down and I rounded down. So yeah, this is an underestimation because my estimated value is lower than the real answer itself. Underestimation, I should say, not estimate. Okay, cool. So that's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and invite you to get on the practice buddy. Practice buddy. If you're feeling crazy, like you start on this and you're still like not sure how to do this work, come back to this because I'm actually going to do one more problem after this. So this video will continue, but you can stop now if you feel confident and go to practice buddy. If you want to stay on this video and watch one more example, then please stay on. I'm going to do one more example. So head off to practice buddy or stick around and watch this next problem. Okay, next problem. So here we go. So again, a 2-digit times a 2-digit problem. So let's take 73 and 52. So remember, step 1, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to estimate this. So again, watch how I'm doing it. Watch what happens. This rounds down to 70. This rounds down to 50. 7 times 5 is 35. 1, 0, 2 zeros. 1, 0, 2 zeros. There's my estimation. My answer should be about 3,500. Now, I heard in class today, which was yesterday as you're watching this video, ooh, time warp, someone literally say, oh my gosh, estimation is so helpful. Yes, it is. It is one of the greatest tools you can have in math. Okay, so now we're going to stack them. So we're going to go 73 times 52, and I'm going to multiply my parts. So again, remember, here are the parts. 2 in the ones place times the 3 in the ones place in 73. 2 in the ones place times the 70 in 73. Then I'm going to go over and do the tens place in 52. And I'm going to say 50 times the 3 in 73. And I'm going to say 50 times the 70 in 73. And then we're going to solve this. So again, 2 times 3 is 6. There's a 0, so I'm going to put that in the ones place. 2 times 7 is 14. That gets me 140. Here's a 0. I'm going to put that in this ones place. 5 times 3 is 15. There's 1 0, 2 zeros, so that's the ones place, the tens place, and then 5 times 7 is 35, so that'd be 3,500. I don't have a lot of space, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to stack these back up in the right place values. This is where I'm seeing the biggest mistakes from people. You're not putting things in place values. You're just like throwing numbers together. Make sure they're in their place values. Boom. All right, let's come over here. Our real answer is 3,796. Our estimation was 3,500. Wow, wow, whoopee, wow, that looks so good. Hey, I'm so excited. Yay, this is the excited face. I did it. I don't know. Now it's like a raccoon boy thing. Here, bigger raccoon ears over some paws. So now it's like a cat. Now it kind of looks like my dog. If we give it like a little beard. But then we put glasses on it, and it's like a Mr. Shaded dog. And then we give it like cool tiger stripes, so it's like a tiger striped shaded dog. Okay, that's it. Done. Sorry, I don't know why I drew that picture. Go ahead, get to work now. Watch this video if you have more questions or just ask for assistance and help. I'm in here, Miss Conjan's in here, Mr. Teacher O's in here. So, ask people when they're around. Ask your teammates, ask other people that did the computer work and see what's up. All right, I'm gonna zip it. You get to work. Great job. Wonderful. Other things are cool. You're awesome. Peace out.